Hi everybody, welcome back to the Claremont Classic Garage. Today we've got a new video about our 1966 Galaxie 500. If you'll recall, in the last video we went over this thing, gave it a good going over, got it running, took it for a spin, and learned pretty much everything there was to learn about it. And after doing that, some consideration, looking around at some parts and stuff, of course, you know what's going to happen. We've decided we're going to keep it and we're going to fix it. We do have a plan for it, and we have a theme. So what we're going to do, the car is going to go white, Wimbledon white, with an old school painted on black vinyl top. They used to do that. You used to go and get a fake black vinyl top painted on your car. We're going to do that. And we're going to try and do this as low budget as we can on the outside, using our meager skills and our elbow grease to save money, because we need any money that we spend, we need to spend on the inside of this car. Interior stuff you could spend a lot of money on that. So we'll be spending our money on the inside of the car, because let's face it, when we're driving it, that's where you are. So long as the inside is nice, and the hood and the tops of the fenders are nice, because that's what you see when you're driving, you're generally going to enjoy your drive. But that's what we're going to do. The seats won't be red anymore. They'll be two-tone blue like the rest of it. I have to say, I was so disappointed when the 65 two-door post, 410 Mercury engine, all that stuff didn't work out. But then, like I said, I left it in the hands of my higher power, because all of a sudden, out of the blue, my higher power presented this to me. Like literally the next morning after the great disappointment with the 65 two-door post. And I can't say I've always been a fan of 66 Fords. They're not really my favorite. Well, until I had one. Now that I have a 66 Ford, I love 66 Fords. Anyway, that's what it is. Or that's how it goes. Once I got looking at this car and realized how clean and how solid it was, and then the cool quirkiness of the 6-cylinder engine and the stick shift transmission, it gives me something I could sink my teeth into, you know. And my problem is that I look at any car like this car, and it takes about 2 seconds for my brain mentally to build the car in my head, and then once that's done, I'm screwed. But anyway, so that's the plan. It's going to stay a 6-cylinder. It's going to stay a stick shift for now, because we got to save some money. All the brakes are in really good shape, so it's going to stay 4-wheel drum for now. I mean, having a stick shift helps a lot with having drum brakes. It makes them a lot more livable. And we're going to stick with the standard steering for now, because quite frankly, it steers easy. I had it out bombing around in the field there. I had no problem palming it around. It steers nice. Now, once we get the bumper in a little bit, the front of it might get a little heavier, but I'm not too worried about that. So from front to back, hang on, I need 2 hands to open the hood. And this project, like our other projects, is going to have a theme, right? The black 68 500 convertible, Project 8 Ball, our theme with that one is trying to get that thing done and on the road for $5,000. And it becomes more of a challenge as each day goes by, as inflation creeps up and stuff gets harder to find. But I'm confident we'll still be able to pull that off in the end. What we're going to do with this one, our theme with this one, because the place is so near and dear to my heart, the theme for this car is going to be Jackson's Auto Wreckers. We're going to get as much stuff as we can out of that place to build this car. So starting with under here, the 240 is nice, but I want to scrounge around in Jackson's and see if I can find a 300, because those 300 engines are just incredible. They've got so much torque, and it's exactly the same physically and aesthetically as this 240. It goes right in. So if we can find a decent 300 in Jackson's Auto Wreckers, we're going to grab that and swap out this 240. Now, as far as this thing goes, there's nothing really wrong with the 3-speed that's in it, except it'd be really nice to have an overdrive, right? And this shifter, this conversion shifter, is pretty clunky. The thing gets hung up in between gears, and I think this is a Spark-O-Matic or a Mr. Gasket or something. I think I've got a Hurst one around here that would probably work a lot better than this if I swap the Hurst mechanism in. If you'll remember back to the 2 auctions that they had at Jackson's Auto Wreckers, we bought a whole skid of transmissions just to get this top loader imposter that was sitting on the top of it. And as fate would have it, it actually turned out to be the one that I was hoping it was. This is the one from the 351 Windsor, which, unlike the one from the 302 and the 300 that had a 325 first gear, this one's got a 3.01 first gear, which is basically exactly the 1, 2, 3 are exactly the same as the 3-speed that's in that car now. We'll call it, for all intent and purpose, a 300 first gear, 178 second, and 1 to 1/3. That's what that car has in it now. So it will drive exactly the same as it does now, with the exception that it'll have that nice overdrive gear you can pull it down into. So that's perfect. And this is like literally a bolt-in swap to what's there now. We may want to just shorten the stick up a little bit, but aside from that, this is easy peasy. And this, straight from Jackson's Auto Wreckers. As far as the rear end goes, it's already got a 9-inch in it, so we're good there. But I wouldn't mind deepening up the gear a little bit. It's got a 300 in it right now. I would like to change that to a 325. I think a 325 is what I want. A 350, I have to do a little bit of math, right? A 350 maybe, but I'm pretty sure 325 is where we want to be with the gear. I think I've probably got 1 or 2 of them over in the shed, but if not, we'll keep our eyes peeled at Jackson's Auto Wreckers for one of those. As far as exhaust, we're going to be using the split manifold from an EFI 300. Even if we keep the 240, I want to at least do that so I can put a proper true dual exhaust on it. We'll be using an H pipe from a Crown Vic that I found at Jackson's Auto Wreckers. It's got the mufflers on it still, and we'll probably get away with Crown Vic tailpipes, although I'll have to buy those. And we'll cobble up some front pipes here out of stuff that I've got kicking around. For induction on the engine, remember we've got our Clifford intake manifold that the thing came with. And then as far as a carburetor, the sky's the limit. We could try all kinds of different things. We've got this brand new Weber. It's a 38 DGES. It's brand new in the box. We could try that. We've got piles of Autolite 2 barrels, 2100s and 2150s. I got about 10 of them hanging on the wall over there. This is a really small one, and I've got some pretty big ones too. I've got this, a Holley List 4412, which is a 500 CFM 2 barrel, which is basically the universal stock car carburetor. We could try that. And then there's always the old standby, an 1850 Holley 600 vacuum secondary. A lot of guys will tell you that they want to put a 390 Holley on these sixes, but I don't know, man. A 300 to me is big enough. If it's a, oh, hang on, dump truck. I mean, on a 289 or a 302 V8, bang, we instantly put a 600 Holley on it, right? So, I don't know. A 306, well, it's still 300 cubic inches you're feeding, right? So, I think the 600 would be just fine on it. But all you do is try it. If it doesn't work out, well, you try something else. We're going to stick with stuff that we've got here. And for an air cleaner, super cool. We've got a. It's probably a reproduction, but this is a K-Code 289 Hypo Mustang air cleaner, which is nice. It takes a nice low profile air cleaner because this is not like my slant sixes that I screw around with on my Mopars where the engine is, it's not that tall because it leans over. These big 6 Ford engines are tall, man, and you don't have, especially you start monkeying around with intake manifolds and carburetor spacers and that, you run out of room under the hood in a real hurry. So that Mustang air cleaner will work just perfect. There's a couple of other little things I have to work out, like rubber. I really need or want to keep the white walls on it, you know. But you just don't run down to the corner tire joint and get white wall tires anymore. They've become kind of a commodity, and they get pretty pricey. So I'll see what I got kicking around. The front ones they're old, but they're actually in really nice shape. They're I think Marshalls from Walmart or something. Worst case, I can use those and find 2 more, right? But we'll worry about that when we get to it. I think we're going to leave the wheels red because that's just a cool old thing. And I've got a really, really nice set of like 65 T-Bird hubcaps to put on it. This thing's going to look sharp, man. We have to do something with the rocker trim. The 66 stuff is unique, and I only have the one for this side. In lieu of that, in the trunk, I found a pair of 65 rocker moldings, which go right on this car. They just look a little different. The only problem with the 65 ones is they're 2-piece, whereas the 66 one is just a 1-piece rocker molding from one end to the other. The 65 one ends here, and it's got like a little extension piece that transitions into the wheel lip molding, and I don't have those. So, hey, I might get lucky and find those in Jackson's Auto Wreckers, right? You never know what you're going to find in there. So that's on my list of things to look for when we're in there. We also need to look for a windshield, because this one, you can see here, it's starting to fog around the edges, and it's really beat up over here from the windshield wiper. It's had dirt on it or something, and the windshield wiper has made a big mess of it. We'll look for that. We have all the door panels. We've got the armrests. We need to find, there are some plastic trim pieces in the back that are all eaten away from the sun. We need to replace those. We're going to have to buy a headliner, a carpet, and a dash pad. The dash pad, repop dash pad, is going to cost a few bucks. Like I said, we have to scrimp and save our money everywhere else, so we can afford to spend the money on the interior. Unfortunately, that's how it goes. As far as the outside of the body goes, it's not too bad. I would love to find the spears for it. This car, and not a lot of 66 Galaxie 500s had the spears, but this one did. You can see here where they've ground off the pins for the clips. I can also find the emblems, the non-spear emblems. The only difference is you can see here on the back side the big, huge V in them to go fit over the spears. The non-spear emblems had a much smaller V because they just fit over this crease on the body. So I would, if I could, whatever I find first. If I find the spears, we'll put the spears on. If I find the no spear emblems, we'll put the no spear emblems on. We've got the grille, we've got decent bumpers, the taillights and the taillight bezels are all nice. It's not really a big, huge job. It's just, you know, stuff like this you got to deal with, right? It's just rust. I would maybe, you can see here the hood is a little bit punky. I kind of think that's where the O was. The forward letters have been filled, right? There's where the F was. You can feel the hole in the back of the brace. Oh no, that's, hang on. Yeah, so we can see here, it's pretty punky. It'd be nice if we could find another hood. That would make me happy. Same with these two doors. The doors on the right side are fine. This one, this back bottom corner has been rotted out. You can see there, and the bottom seam isn't too good in it either. It'd be nice if we could just replace this door. And this one is not doing too good either. But I mean, aside from that, the actual body structure is just really, really good. So it won't take a ton of work at all to get this thing whipped into shape. Ooh, there's some nice lead work right there. Oh boy. And there's some interesting dents and stuff in the roof. Probably over the years, people have been putting stuff on top of it. Like, it's not hail damage or nothing. It's just, it's kind of around the periphery of it, you know? Little dents. Perfect candidate for a spray-on vinyl top, I think. I also know where there's a really clean gas tank for this car in a bus at Jackson's Auto Wreckers. It's got one little patch on it, but it's not bad. We'd looked inside it the last time we were there in the spring, and it was nice and clean and dry on the inside. The sending unit was still in it. So although we had the car running on what was coming out of the tank, I still don't know how much crud and junk is inside it. So I think I'll just play it safe and grab that tank when we're in there. Also have to try and find one of these. Somebody's whacked this with it. You can see it's gotten whacked with something. So we'll just replace it. That's the easiest thing to do. Should be able to find one of those in there. I see the chrome drip rail molding is also missing from this side. So I'm going to have a look for that while we're in there. Hopefully I can find it. There was one car in there, man, that they pulled the engine out of. And when they pull the engines out of cars in there, the cars usually end up in a bin. And it was a 65 Galaxie 500 sedan, man. I'm sure it probably would have had many of the parts that I need on it. Oh, and that's going to hurt that car is gone from that yard. But what are you going to do? I'm going to have to find some other ones in there, I guess, to try and get some stuff off of. Fingers crossed. So that's it, I guess. We've been introduced, we've evaluated, and now we've come up with our battle plan. It should be a fun project. I don't know when we're going to actually get started on it, but right now we can gather up parts, right? We'll be back in Jackson's Auto Wreckers, not this weekend, but next weekend, and we could start scrounging around in there and seeing what we could find. I promise you, there's all kinds of stuff in there that we can use on this project. So I guess with that, we're going to take off. And I don't know, like I said, when you'll see this again, but you'll see it sometime down the road. I'd like to thank you, as always, for tuning into the Claremont Classic Garage. I hope you come back and see us again sometime. And until then, I'm Kevin saying so long for now.